Picture Rome, a bustling metropolis at the heart of a vast empire in the 1st century BC. This was a time of grandeur and glory, yet also a time of political strife and social upheaval. Rome was a republic, a form of government where power rested not with a single ruler, but with the people and their elected representatives. But as is often the case, things were not as democratic as they seemed. The Roman Republic was largely controlled by the Senate, an assembly of aristocrats known as patricians. These were men of noble birth who traced their lineage back to the founding families of Rome. The Senate was the beating heart of the Republic, the place where decisions were made, laws were passed, and the destiny of the empire was shaped. But the Senate was far from a harmonious assembly. It was a battleground of political ambition, where patrician families vied for power and influence. This struggle often spilled out onto the streets of Rome, leading to civil unrest and even violence. It was a game of political chess, where the stakes were nothing less than control of the mightiest empire the world had ever known. Yet, amid this political turmoil, the Republic was experiencing unprecedented expansion. Rome's legions marched across the known world, toppling kingdoms and incorporating vast territories into the empire. This brought wealth and prosperity, but also new challenges. Managing such a sprawling empire required strong leadership, and the Senate was often divided and indecisive. Into this complex and volatile political landscape stepped a man named Julius Caesar. Born into a patrician family of modest means, Caesar would rise through the ranks to become one of Rome's most powerful figures. His life would be marked by ambition, political genius, and a thirst for power that would ultimately lead to his downfall. At the center of this political maelstrom stood a man named Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar, born in 100 BC, was not always destined for greatness. Born into the Julii family, an old but not particularly influential patrician clan, young Caesar had a relatively modest upbringing. His father, also named Julius Caesar, held the position of praetor, a significant role in the Roman Republic, but was not a major player in the political scene. Caesar's early life was marked by struggle and hardship. His family was on the wrong side of the political divide during a turbulent period in Rome. They were supporters of the populares, a political faction that championed the cause of the plebeians, the common people. Caesar's aunt, Julia, was married to Gaius Marius, a key figure in the populares and 7-time consul of Rome, providing him with a robust political lineage. At the tender age of 17, Julius Caesar married Cornelia, the daughter of a prominent member of the populares, further cementing his alignment with this faction. This marriage was not just a union of two young hearts, but also a politically strategic move, one that would have far-reaching implications for Caesar's future. However, these alliances put him in the crosshairs of Lucius Cornelius Sulla, a member of the Optimates, the political faction opposing the populares. When Sulla became dictator, he targeted his enemies ruthlessly, and Caesar, because of his connections, was no exception. He was stripped of his inheritance, his wife's dowry, and his position as the priest of Jupiter, and was forced into hiding. Yet it was during his exile that Caesar showcased his tenacity and determination. He joined the military and quickly rose through the ranks due to his leadership skills and bravery. His time in Spain was particularly noteworthy, where he achieved significant military successes, earning him the respect and admiration of his men. Julius Caesar returned to Rome after Sulla's death, his reputation as a formidable military leader firmly established. He quickly climbed the political ladder, proving himself to be a shrewd and ambitious politician. Caesar's political and military prowess was beginning to shine, setting the stage for his rise to power. The year is 60 BC. Caesar has returned to Rome from Spain, victorious and popular. With his triumphs in Spain, Julius Caesar had earned the adoration of the masses. His victories were not just military, they were political. And in the political playground of Rome, allies were as important as conquests. Caesar knew this well. He sought out two of Rome's most influential figures, Pompey and Crassus, and formed what would be known as the First Triumvirate. This informal alliance would become a turning point in Caesar's political career. Pompey, a military genius, and Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome, were powerful allies indeed. But this alliance was not just about mutual benefit. Caesar used it strategically to secure his appointment as the governor of Gaul, a region that spanned from the Mediterranean Sea to the English Channel. As governor, Caesar was not content to simply rule. He embarked on a series of military campaigns, expanding the boundaries of Rome and further cementing his reputation as a military powerhouse. His victories in Gaul were not just about land and glory, they were about influence. With each victory, his popularity in Rome soared, and so too did his political standing. Yet it wasn't just his military prowess that made Caesar a force to be reckoned with. It was his audacity. In a bold move that would forever change the course of history, Caesar crossed the Rubicon River, a direct violation of Roman law. This act was not just a physical crossing, it was a declaration of war against the Roman Senate. It was a symbol of Caesar's absolute refusal to bow down to the traditional political structures of Rome. Caesar's crossing of the Rubicon was a gamble, a roll of the dice that could have ended in disaster, but it didn't. Instead, it marked the beginning of Caesar's transition from a political figure to a military dictator. It was a declaration of his intention to rule, not just lead. But it was his audacious crossing of the Rubicon River that truly marked Caesar's rise to absolute power. Caesar was now the undisputed ruler of Rome, but his reign was not to last long. Julius Caesar, having navigated the treacherous waters of Roman politics, found himself at the peak of power. However, his ascension to the helm was not without controversy. The year 44 BC marked a significant turning point in Caesar's rule. He was appointed Dictator Perpetuo, dictator in perpetuity. This was a role never before seen in Roman history. It was a position of unassailable power, intended to last for a lifetime. Caesar was no longer just a leader. He was a living embodiment of Rome itself. This unprecedented move sent shockwaves through the Roman Senate. It stirred a pot of political tension that had been simmering beneath the surface. Many senators perceived this as a direct threat to the Republic itself, a blatant display of autocracy that defied Rome's democratic principles. The Senate, once a place of debate and decision, was reduced to a mere rubber stamp for Caesar's decrees. The balance of power had been disrupted, and it was clear that something had to give. A conspiracy began to form in the shadows of these tensions. A group of senators, later known as the Liberators, decided to take matters into their own hands. They resolved to assassinate Caesar, believing it to be the only way to restore the Republic. The plan was set in motion, with the date chosen for this drastic action being March 15th, a day known in the Roman calendar as the Ides of March. The Ides of March arrived, and the conspiracy came to a head. As Caesar attended a Senate meeting at the Theater of Pompey, he was surrounded by the conspirators. They unsheathed their daggers and struck Caesar in a brutal act of treachery. In the heart of Rome, the city he had dominated, Julius Caesar met his tragic end. On the Ides of March, 44 BC, Julius Caesar, the most powerful man in Rome, was no more. Caesar's death was a seismic event that shook Rome to its core. His sudden absence left an immense power vacuum, plunging Rome into a chaotic whirlpool of conspiracies and power struggles. The city, once held firmly by Caesar's iron grip, was now a wild battlefield for those hungry for power. In the immediate aftermath of Caesar's assassination, his adopted heir, Octavian, emerged from the shadows. Young Octavian, only 18 at the time of Caesar's death, was initially underestimated. However, he proved to be a surprisingly cunning and ruthless leader. His strategic alliances, military successes, and political maneuverings outmatched those of his adversaries, leading him to the pinnacle of power. Octavian's rise marked the end of the Roman Republic and the dawn of the Roman Empire. He became Augustus, the first Roman emperor, ushering in a period of relative peace and prosperity known as the Pax Romana. The Republic, once a beacon of democracy, was transformed into an empire under the rule of one man. Now let's reflect on Caesar's legacy. His life and death were pivotal moments in history that changed the course of Rome and, by extension, the world. He was a military genius, a charismatic leader, and a political innovator. His reforms, particularly those related to the calendar and the expansion of citizenship, have had a lasting impact. Yet his ambition and lust for power led to his downfall. His actions set a precedent for future leaders, teaching them both what to strive for and what to avoid. His life serves as a cautionary tale of how unchecked ambition can lead to one's downfall. Caesar's influence extends far beyond his lifetime. His name has become synonymous with power, and he continues to be a subject of study and fascination. His life and death have been immortalized in literature, art, and popular culture, from Shakespeare's plays to modern movies. Julius Caesar, a complex figure whose ambition and actions continue to fascinate and debate historians to this day. His story, filled with triumphs and tragedy, is a testament to his enduring legacy.